Good evening, everyone. I'm Sin. I'm from ArtScience Museum. Welcome to ArtScience Late. So ArtScience Late is a performance program that we do once a month on the third Thursday. It's a performance program that sees the coming together of different constellations of artists for free-form exploration and experimentation. And tonight, we are so privileged to have this performance program of poetry and music. It's about the intersections of humanness and technology, about contemporary anxieties and expectations, about how we move forward together and what we can make together in the new realities that we find ourselves in. And I'm so happy that I have Kenny Lake from Books Actually with me this evening, who will introduce our beautiful constellation on stage.
Thank you, Sin. Thank you, ArtScience, for organizing, hosting this. I'll keep it very, very short. Tonight, I think this is one of the silent killer events for the year because it's you can get maybe like Pooja, Cyril on stage together, or like Tania and Pooja, but it's next to impossible to find a way to put all them three together. Not saying that they hate each other's guts. It's sometimes their schedule just can't match. And to have all three of them, doing their poetry, doing their singing, it's going to be amazing. This is got to be one of the best events for the year. And you got to take it from me because we organize pressure, right? Pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure.
No pressure.
Don't
we
say
organize
best
so much
lah.
events at the bookstore, and I think whatever we're organizing for the last few months can't beat these. So
No.
No pressure. So on my right,
None,
on my left,
terrified.
or the extreme right is
Literally
Pooja Nansi. Very well-known spoken performance poet, published author. She's also our...
No, don't say it.
Cannot say that. Okay. She also does this performance called Mango Dollies whenever her best friend Anjana is back in Singapore. And in the center, I have Tania De Rozario, also published author, 2 books. Third book coming up. It's going to be a wicked one. She teaches horror and gender studies. She and I has this. she and I has this affinity for horror movies, so we can talk more about that later. And last but not least, I have Cyril Wong, the one that always gets trolled by me most often. What to talk about him? He's actually a fantastic singer. So not just a poet, but a fantastic singer. Then, if you all could, ask him what was the title of his first book that he ever got published. So that's the one that irritates him the most. He will just unfriend you on Facebook. But I just had to do that. I'm sorry, but everything to you guys. Thank you.
Thank you. These 2 days have been really, really surreal for us. It's like an early Christmas present for those of us who believe in Christmas. It has been a really, really special for us, which is why I think we are also very anxious and terrified, because we would really, really like to thank the people behind ArtScience Museum for taking care of us and for caring so much for us and for everything, really. We just feel so, I dare to use the word, blessed.
Loved.
Hashtag blessed.
Hashtag blessed for once in my life. So we'll be presenting, I guess, a sequence of poems as we usually do, interspersed with music. I know the theme has to do with modern life, with technology, and how we, I guess, behave and interact and express ourselves within the context of this modern world, whatever that means. And we will also be, of course, our poems will be filled with a lot of feelings, very difficult feelings. Difficult feelings, and there will be lots of music because in my mind, poetry is music and music is poetry, which is why we like to fuse everything together. And I guess I will let the evening begin with Pooja.
Thank you guys for turning out. We were just sitting here watching you guys filter in, and then our jaws just got slacker and slacker because we thought like maybe 10 people would be here. So this is just,
know all of them.
and we'd know all of them. But this is mildly terrifying. It's called My Hands Are Clammy, and we've decided to start the set with me, which I regret now. But cool, I'm just really nervous, so if my guitar sounds funny, clap along or something. Yeah, so this is just a piece that I'm doing with one of Tanya's poems called The First Face You Saw. I don't know if you want to say something about it.
Yeah, so I wrote this poem while waiting for someone to come out of an operating theater. That's really all you need to know.
Yeah, I think this is a song a lot of you would know. World was on fire, no one could save me but you. Strange what desire can make foolish people do. I never dreamed that I'd meet somebody like you. I never dreamed that I loved somebody like you.
I wanted mine to be the first face you saw coming out of surgery. Lingering at the mouth of the operating theater, I imagined blood as I waited, bodies at the mercy of discerning hands cut open by strangers. I remember you recounting biology lessons, dissecting an animal and the humbling truth of its insides for the first time. Everything fit perfectly. We do not collapse into each other like that, the way lovers should.
No, I don't want to fall in love. No, I don't want to fall in love with you.
You are open like the best endings. I am a conclusion wound tight around secrets, words left over from the last time I loved. You are right. I find no beauty in the everyday, in leaves coaxed by gravity to ground, in the symmetry between soil and sky. You should know by now, I write because I cannot connect, cannot marry miracle to matter, metaphor to meaning, head to heart. This anesthesia I am under will not wear off like love, drugs, this thing that is us. Yet still, I wait. Will breathe again as your body is rolled back towards mine. You are mine, if only for now. Slipping out of sleep, let my face be the first you see.
What a wicked game to play, to make me feel this way. And what a wicked thing to do, to make me dream of you. And what a wicked thing to say, you never felt this way. And what a wicked thing to do, and to make me dream of you. You know, I always say, like, you don't have to clap if you don't feel like it. Like, awkward silence is great in poetry. It's also the only, like, it's the only art form where you hear the sound, like, Like, if you go to poetry events, like, someone always goes, That's, like, my favorite thing ever. Okay. So this piece, we were thinking of which poems to do, and I wrote this piece quite recently. It's about technology and how it affected me as a child. It's about old technology that no one uses anymore. It's also about growing up brown in Singapore. So this is called The Year We All Watched TV and Saw Ourselves in Yamuna Sangarasivam. Remember Lata Music Center? Remember the 5 minutes that turned into a half-an-hour stop on Sunday afternoons when you were post-idli lunch sweaty-cheeked child and your father would thumb through rows of cassette tapes the same way he ran his fingers through your hair to tuck you into bed at night. Remember glossy cassette sleeve paper, cradled in L-shaped plastic. The colors that your father would hum from Jagjit Singh, Pankaj Udas, Mehndi Hassan, Anup Jalota. Remember red cursive font on yellow, jingle that would end side A, you'd recite again while flipping over for side B. Remember movie soundtracks, from Dil Hai Ke Manta Nahi, Hum, Fool or Kate, Sajan. The year was 1991. Everybody else in your class was listening to Jackie Chung. There was real fear of somebody finding out what was really happening in your bright red plastic Sony Walkman. Fear of head shaking from side to side with palms clasped in mocking namaste. But then this is the year Michael Jackson will dance alongside an Odissi dancer. And being brown is almost okay again.
My turn. The next one is really a poem that I like to read a lot, mainly because it's very simple. But also it's the first poem I kind of wrote the day I moved in with my partner. I guess it has a lot of technological objects in it. I guess that's the link, but really it's my excuse to read a love poem. And I'm coupling it with a song by Björk, who is, of course, needs no introduction. This is a song called Come to Me by Björk, and I wanted to use this song because I remember going to Zouk a long time ago when Björk first came out with an album called Debut, and being a hipster before the word hipster existed, I went to Zouk where there was only 20 people in the audience, and I watched this little girl screaming her head off. I thought, who is this crazy person? I want to be her. So yeah, that was Björk, and I'm coupling it with this poem that is dedicated to my partner, who I think is here somewhere. I've been looking for him. Sorry, my eyesight isn't the same anymore.
He's like refusing to raise his hand.
Okay, never mind. This is called The Laundry Can Wait. Come to me, I'll take care of you, protect you. Calm down. You're exhausted. Come, lie down. You don't have to explain. I understand. The laundry can wait. So can the dishes. Our emails and mobile phones too. We could sit out naked by the window if we dared. Or we could catch the news. I could watch you try not to doze off during the sports announcements. There will be plenty of time for sleep. You that I love you. So don't make me say it. It would burst the bubble, break the charm. Since you asked, the plants are watered. And the light has stopped flickering since I replaced the bulb. A gay man replacing the bulb. Who knows? Maybe the dishes might wash themselves after we are gone. How about if we insert an extra hour to our day so that we may fill it with our sighs? There will be plenty of time for sleep. Jump off, your building's on fire. I'll catch you, I'll catch you, and destroy all that is keeping you down, and then I'll nurse you, I'll nurse you. For now, let us settle into the dimness of evening. Our conversation like the passing of a melody from one instrument to another. Are you worried about how early you have to wake up for work tomorrow? Take a breath. Look at me. There will be plenty of time for sleep. You know that I adore you, and you know that I love you. You don't have to say it. It would burst the bubble, break the charm. Come to me, I'll take care of you. You don't have to explain. I understand.
Yeah, once again, I'm really questioning the placement of our pieces because I don't wanna follow up with that.
And now we do Kylie Minogue.
Yeah, one of the
Just
great
because.
songwriters of our time. Yeah, I am really fascinated with.
Kylie Minogue.
No, I'm really fascinated with pop songs that have actually very beautiful lyrics that get lost
Yeah.
in bad production. And like when I was listening to this song, I was like, this is a really great song. Of course, she didn't write it, but here we go. Dance, it's all I wanna do, so won't you dance? I'm standing here with you, why won't you move? I'll get inside your groove, 'cause I'm on fire, fire, fire. It hurts when you get too close, baby, it hurts. If love is really good, you just want more. Even if it throws you to the fire, fire, fire. All the lovers that have gone before, they don't compare to you. Don't be frightened. Give me a little bit more. They don't compare to you. All the lovers feel. Can't you see there's so much here to feel? Deep inside your heart, you know I'm real. Can't you see that this is really higher, higher, higher? Breathe. I know you find it hard, but baby, breathe. You be next to me, I'm all you need. And I'll take you there, I'll take you higher, higher, higher. All the lovers that have gone before, they don't compare to you. Don't be frightened. Just give me a little bit more. They don't compare to you. All the lovers. It's so sad, right? It's the saddest song.
Y'all definitely improved it, I have to say.
I still like Kylie.
Of course, you still like Kylie.
And it's very hard following every time they sing because I'm like, really, because
No,
I'm in
this
the
piece is
best-
awesome.
I am in the best seat here because I get like the ultimate surround sound. And then I'm full of feelings. And then it takes me a while to begin. Okay, so, well, actually, that's fine because this is an angry piece. Somewhat. Okay, this is about a famous garden that shall not be named that has fake trees that are very big. So I think if I'm not wrong, this is the token piece of fiction, right? Everything else is confessional.
All of this is fiction.
Okay, all of this is fiction. And I just included it because I just felt it was so in line with the theme, it was hard to exclude. So, this is an excerpt from something called Human Nature. When you arrive at the gardens, the place is all spectacle. Everywhere, people interfacing with nature through cell phone lenses, shooting panoramas of landscaped flora, holding plants and flowers hostage to their selfies. You weave your way through human traffic, trying not to gawk at the super trees. Impossibly tall, their metal branches zigzag menacingly upward and outward like clusters of magenta lightning bolts. Living plants cling to their trunks. Workers prune them, ripping rabbit's foot ferns from the outer walls. They inspect the remaining foliage, resituating dropping leaves and flowers. You've heard that at night, they come alive with light and sound. You do not want to be around when that happens, so you make your way quickly to one of the conservatories. Inside the conservatory, you are assaulted by a light-up replica of an Eiffel Tower, and then a giant cement boot overrun with cement children. You try to concentrate on the flowers. You take them in while persevering through a herd of grumpy toddlers and regretful parents, until you come to the end of the row, stopping at a site that takes you to childhood. It's an olive tree. The first time you saw an olive tree was in a painting your mother used to hang in her bedroom. She believed that the tree was a symbol of peace. She'd always wanted to travel to Greece, believed that Greece's streets were lined with olive trees, but there had never been money, and she died young. You are appalled to learn that this tree is more than 1,000 years old. More than 1,000 years old. Where had it come from? Who uproots a 1,000-year-old tree in order to transplant it in some tourist trap, some Frankenstein's monster menagerie populated by kitsch landmarks and garish deco? You observe its trunk, knotty and gnarled, covered in ash-colored bark, its narrow leaves a shiny olive green, textured, glinting under the light that penetrates the huge glass dome. On the nearest sloping branch, a small cluster of tiny green buds are blossoming into pointy-tipped flowers. It occurs to you that this tree had managed to bloom, despite all odds. The disruption had not deterred it, nor the foreign climate hindered its growth. This should not have happened, but it did. You think that maybe you're supposed to carve from this literal olive branch some sort of peace within yourself, to construct some sort of narrative about overcoming challenges or surviving fate. But all you are able to think about is a big fat hole in the ground somewhere in the Mediterranean where this tree used to grow. Had anything taken its place? Are there birds that miss it? At what price did this occur? No, this is not triumph. This was trickery. This simulation of weather and light, this deliberate conditioning of soil. The only triumph here was that of man's will over nature. This branch did not signify peace. What it signifies is surrender. Thank you.
So this piece is about, has anybody here ever been up at like 3:14 a.m. just like looking at the same social media feed? Like you've literally seen that post like 7 times that night, but you're somehow still looking at it. It's basically about that. It's called Jewel Mania, after the game, which I play it. Okay, I play it. It's called Jewel Mania. Okay. It is 1:30 a.m. in Perth. A man who is my husband has been snoring gently next to me for 3 hours. I am up, flipping from social media feed to article about modern love, to refresh emails, to YouTube clip, to oddly calming Match the Jewels game that helps you from confronting life's scary questions, back to social media feed, and press play on paused Netflix documentary. I watch so many documentaries, mostly about people who are amazing at their jobs and unsolved crimes involving people who kill other people in small towns, which I suppose means it also falls under the first category. I think about how anyone who is really in love with what they do and can tell you why it is changing the world is a kind of poet. I think about how my feet are always cold. I think about how many winter trips I have made to Australia over the course of this relationship, why it is close to 2 a.m. and I cannot sleep, and the jewel matching games don't work. They just make you worse. So maybe I'll switch to Unsolved Mystery again.
I love serial killer documentaries.
They're great, right?
I treat them like tutorials. It's for my future life when this doesn't work out.
I'll give you a list.
Cyril and I are teaming up.
Yeah, we have a long list.
It's like Tania's just going to be killing people and Cyril's going to be singing in the background, providing the score.
Wouldn't you watch that though? I feel like I would watch that.
Pooja will hold the camera, okay?
I'll just hold the camera because I have no other skills. Okay.
It's about serial killers, it's not really love poems. I'm going to follow up with two love poems. So I picked these because I went through a period of writing weepy poems where I would, for some reason, use imagery that's very like mathematical or geographical, like very technical. So I'm going to read these two together. They're short, two short ones. The first one was, I went through a breakup and it was very sad, wah. And the second one was, I was scolding myself for being so sad. So it's kind of like, I'm going to not say it. Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, here's the sad one first. This is called The Sum of Our Sleep. Since splitting up, we make it a point to sleep in separate beds. Dreaming of different futures must involve this neat incision, cannot be done side by side. The curse of cohabitation, the lease on love expiring before the end of the tenancy agreement. Our house, now uncharted territory to be navigated. The ache for the other each night is the heart's insomnia, a new lesson in self-restraint. This unlearning of intimacy, a slow return to a lesser life. Sinking into slumber without you, my skin feels misplaced on its own body. The divided sum of our sleep leaves me in pieces. This second one is called, This World is Bigger Than Your Broken Heart. Very self-flagellating. This world is bigger than your broken heart. Even without enough room on earth to lay the pieces out like a jigsaw, even if their edges rub each other wrong like continents creating earthquakes, even if your gate is so wide with sadness, people part for you on the streets, even if every part of you pours out like liquid through cracks that never close, even if the cracks show up in the pavements of your voice, even if the hollow spaces make never-ending echoes, even if the emptiness is so large you can fit yourself inside it, have it consume you whole, feet first, a single gulp, blocking out the sun. Even if the shards create a force field around you, splintering everything you touch. Even if your heart is your skin, your lungs, your hands, your feet. Even if the wounds grow so large, the light that enters them looks like darkness you might drown in. Even then. Thank you.
For the next one, I'll be doing a poem that, for better or for worse, has been following me my whole life.
It's your signature poem.
Even when I don't want it to. But I don't know whether it applies to all of us really, but being confessional poets, when you read the same poem again and again, it's really kind of like digging at a wound in public. And it's always the same wound. You always think that the 20th time you read it, it gets easier. It's not really. You just remember things that, I don't know. I guess I just get used to it. Anyway, this poem is called Boats. It's dedicated to a photographer who kind of like broke my heart a little bit. And it's coupled by a song called Case of You by the poet, songwriter Joni Mitchell, whom Pooja and I love very, very much.
Just before our love got lost, you said, I am as constant as a northern star. And I said, constantly in the darkness, where's that at? If you want me, I'll be in the bar. on the back of a cartoon coaster. In the blue TV screen light, I drew a map of Canada. Oh, Canada, with your face sketched on it twice.
You and your photographs of boats, that repeated metaphor for departure, or simply the possibility of a voyage.
Just before our love got lost, you said, I am as constant as a northern star. And I said, constantly in the darkness, where's that at?
What you cannot tell me, you tell me with a vessel and a single passenger, eyes fixed on some skylit conclusion, set apart and starkly upon a canvas of tractable waves, brought to a still by the trigger click of your camera, like the sound a key makes when it releases the lock.
Oh, you're in my blood like holy wine. You taste so bitter and so sweet. Oh, I could drink a case of you, my darling, and still I'd be on my feet. I'd still be on my feet.
Your heart became that lock. These images, how you have always articulated distance, a withdrawal. Darling, there are just as many ways of saying goodbye as there are ways of letting you go.
I met a woman. She had a mouth like yours. She knew your life. She knew your devils and your deeds. And she said, go to him and stay with him if you can, but be prepared to bleed.
The boat is narrow, like the width of my heart. After impossible loss, cruel resignation, this heart you ride in.
Oh, you're in my blood like holy wine. You taste so bitter and so sweet. Oh, I could drink a case of you, my darling, and still I'd be on my feet.
Love, if this is how you choose to leave me, let me let you.
Part of you pours out of me in these lines from time to time.
Thank you.
This photographer who broke your heart's the first on my list.
But then we all got boats out of it. That's true. I just also want to thank like the amazing tech crew guys who've been with us for like the last 2 days, and who gallantly came and readjusted my microphone. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. This next piece is a weird piece. I don't deal well with change. I get deep anxiety. Like I feel like I was telling a friend of mine how I read this amazing Lucille Clifton poem where she talks about like, oh, I agree with the leaves know that letting go is a kind of love. And she was like, you don't agree with the leaves, you agree with the mountain, you just like, be you. I was like, okay, so I get real deep anxiety with change, and this is just a piece about that. It's called Lightning Strokes. I make a new friend at the poetry night I run. She comes up to me and says, hi. I am new in town. I want to get to know people. Can I take you out to lunch? We meet. A few months later, her husband steps off a ledge 18 floors up, and I do not know what to say. I want to say it's my biggest nightmare, but it's hers. When I go to see her, I'm frightened because we don't know how to hold grief, especially when it's not ours. We are scared faces and hushed tones, when maybe what is really needed is food, endless cups of tea, some ill-timed jokes. She looks tired, but is standing upright. I do not know what bones she is made of that allow her this. She says, I'm done crying. I merely nod. One evening during her trip to Istanbul, she shares on her Instagram story that she lives in the present, imagining a future in the past, how they might have come here in their time together. I remember that poetry exists to say the things words alone cannot. I think of my own past's futures. In one, I'm married to a chef who paints and takes photographs of me in evening light. We fight about which syllable to stress when we say oregano. I don't know. Okay. In another, I become a lawyer and live in an immaculate condo. I spend my evenings adjusting the temperature on my wine fridge and running my fingers wistfully on the spines of books of poetry I have no time to read. The next morning, I wake up and go to the gym. I let my hopes revolve on a treadmill. I will be faster, lighter, happier. But just outside the full glass window overlooking the void deck is a funeral. Who said living and dying were opposites? What I wish for is lightning strokes. Big, bright, undeniable, only a little distance away. The reassurance of presence even before sound. What I wish for is for my mother and father to live forever, so I can always be fed happy child. What I wish for is my husband's laughter to continue to burst out of his lungs, for it to echo always in my eardrums, for my sister's room to be next to mine, for me to always be able to walk in and say, which shoes do you think I should wear? These are things to which I hold on to so tight, it sometimes becomes hard to breathe. Okay. Do you want to say something or do you want me to say something? You say something, it's your piece.
I'm quite pleased because I see my friend Lisa in the audience, and I'm pleased because she introduced me to Westworld, and this piece is about Westworld, and I've never read it before, so I guess it's for her. For those of you who don't follow it, Westworld, in the series Westworld, Westworld is a theme park filled with artificial intelligence that look like people, and humans pay to visit this theme park, enact out all their depraved fantasies on the AI, and at the end of the day, all the artificial intelligence has its memory wiped out. I call this the reveries because in the series, there's a new line of code that's inserted into the AI called the reveries, and it causes them to be wistful and daydream. And it's actually when they start to daydream, they start to remember all the things that happened to them. That's when the revolution begins, and the humans die.
I think you're not supposed to tell the ending, right?
Oh, sorry, that wasn't a spoiler.
Big spoiler alert.
Don't need to watch it anymore.
Not all the
big
humans, some of them survive.
Much to Tanya's dismay.
So I asked Pooja, I asked Pooja whether she could do fake plastic trees with this because the music in Westworld is really interesting. It's set far in the future, the theme park's set in the past, but the music is quite contemporary, and one of the songs that plays in episode 6 is an instrumental by Radiohead.
Okay, here we go. A green plastic watering can for a fake Chinese rubber plant in fake plastic earth that she bought from a rubber man in a town full of rubber plants to get rid of itself. It wears her out. It wears her out. It wears her out. It wears her out.
Episode 6 of Westworld opens with Maeve's slow but sure awakening of consciousness as the series' signature pianola plays a soft instrumental of Radiohead's fake plastic trees. Maeve is remembering a life her circuitry was supposed to have erased. The violent death of her child, a house burnt to the ground, her final breath cut short by a bullet. She has started to notice the glitches in the matrix, her friends and their stock phrases, the uncanny routines, the ease with which the newcomers violate their bodies. Maeve is waking up. She is becoming more human than human. She can't help the feeling that she could blow through the ceiling if she could just turn and run.
She lives with a broken man, a cracked polystyrene man who just crumbles and burns. He used to do surgery on girls in the 80s, but gravity always wins. It wears him out. It wears him out. It wears him out. It wears him out.
In the movies, our computers write us love songs. Our children look like Haley Joel Osment on the outside and Metal Wire on the inside. Our avatars become our slaves, and AI terminators make better fathers than our own, and ghosts spill out of our television sets. If film has taught us anything, it is that relinquishing control of to technology cannot be separated from the fear that technology will in turn take control of us. And what happens then? How do we own up to our darkness when those we create in our own image show us what we really look like?
She looks like the real thing. She tastes like the real thing. My fake plastic love. But I can't help the feeling I could blow through the ceiling if I just turn and run. It wears me out. It wears me out. wears me out. He wears me out.
I sometimes think that to be a machine might be better. None of this blood and gut emotion, none of these soft, fleshy feelings vulnerable to despair. Even a return to the bicameral mind would be preferable to this existence, a time when one's inner monologue might have been mistaken for the voice of God. Because sometimes I look at the world and I wonder what use our consciousness has been when everything we touch, we destroy.
It wears you out. It wears you out. It wears you out. It wears you out.
As Maeve walks the upper halls of the Westworld lab, she is faced with the reality of her existence, and I find that I cannot stop crying. This sequence is set to a woeful cello rendition of another Radiohead tune called Motion Picture Soundtrack. This version has no lyrics, but I sing them in my head as I watch her, and am reminded of them again in the season finale when she is about to escape. In that scene, she tells her lover that he cannot come with her, meaning that he must stay and die. His response reads as a sort of unconditional love that no human in the series has thus far been capable of displaying. Smiling and without hesitation, he kisses her, replying with what he does not know is the final line of that same Radiohead song. See you in the next life.
I guess we all have a mummy poem. I have one. I've been very lucky to be, I guess, in that generation of people that live for a really long time doing really embarrassing things without the internet. So we don't get to post shit that we do. But of course, my mom, when she first discovered internet, it was hell on earth for me. And this is about that. It's about her calling me at work to ask me how to use the bloody computer. And of course, that moment when I remember I was in the office, I don't know where I was working, I think it was substation. I picked up the phone, and that moment became more about just about technology or the internet, or even my mom. This one is called Close All the Windows. It's a really short one. After discovering the internet, my mother has trouble finding a connection and calls me up for help while I am at work. We keep miscommunicating. She has clicked open so many windows, the computer threatens to hang. And my logic runs out of variations to explain the same thing over and over and over. Suddenly, I imagine she is looking for her future through that glowing screen. And I'm really helping her to find back her life after all her children have left for new homes, new families to love. What now? She asks. Try again, I reply, the phone pressed to my ear. Close all the windows. Tell me, what do you see? Thank you.
Okay. This is an older poem, so some of you might have heard it. It's a poem about a wet dream, because women have those too. Yes? I can't be the only one. Yeah, okay, cool. So I just want to know if anybody here watches QI, the game show. You don't have to be embarrassed, it's okay. You can just like all the way own up to it. So there's a comedian on QI called Alan Davis, who I developed like a huge, like I watched so many episodes and I just developed this massive crush on him.
I don't
It's
know
basically
why.
this British, it's a British quiz/game show. And like I love a guy with a sense of humor, and so I developed this amazing crush on him. And then one night I watched too many episodes of QI, and I went to bed, and I had a great dream about Alan Davis. And then all this trivia. And then I woke up and I was telling my best friend about it, and she was like, "Oh my God, just write him a letter." I was like, "Girl, he has a wife. I can't do that." So I wrote a poem instead. Yeah, it's called. Just like if you Google him, you're going to tell me he's not that hot, but you don't understand. Okay, so it's great. More for me. This is called If You're Reading This, Alan Davis. If you're reading this, Alan Davis, across the table, we both smile at the waiter's accent as he puts down our frosted pints. I'm wearing that dress, the one that makes me feel like the Sophia Loren version of myself. We burst out laughing. The band is playing the Peter Cetera song from the Karate Kid soundtrack. And I know I want you. Each cell whimpering, your lopsided grin makes my legs instinctively cross themselves. There's some kind of insane storm in my belly, and suddenly you take my hand, walk me to the restroom, slam your back to the door, pull me between your legs. You kiss me hard, stop, look at me quizzically and smile at my still closed eyes. Listen. There are lilies blooming in my palm, stretching towards your beautiful mouth. Somewhere my heart is doing spinnerets, my breasts flattened against your chest. Oh, that someone could have curls lovelier than mine. And our laughter in the midst of it all, echoing off the tiles like continents drifting towards each other, and this longing that arises and arises and arises. Oh, keep on doing it. Just like that. Pull me into the mottled brown of your eyes, those crinkled roads that happen when you smile, and when you tell me I am beautiful, I want to split myself into 1,000,000 women who could do this to you 1,000,000 times. After the last wave, you cradle my head in your chest. I look up, and through the breathlessness you ask me, why did the mushroom go to the party? A pause, and then before the last kiss you say, because he was a fungi. Oh, for you I would laugh till the world turned itself into shards of light. I would be a comic tadpole wriggling in desire's mud, but the things I really want to say belong more to porn than poetry. I want to change my address to last night's wet dream. Because if you were to really walk into my life, being that close would kill me.
You should sit for this one.
What? Sit? You would like us to sit?
Yeah,
Does it make you nervous?
a little bit.
Okay, we'll sit.
I look so lazy, right? Just sitting the whole time.
It's just that we're
You're just Cyril the elderly. That's our running joke.
You're running.
It's my running joke.
I'm
Cyril
not
the
brave enough for that
Cyril
joke.
the elderly.
Said the woman who came out with fungi.
It's not me. That's an original Alan Davis joke.
Oh,
He also has another great one. Can I say it before we do the
yeah.
book?
Go,
So
go,
he
go,
has this
go.
great segment where he like sings, you know the Spider-Man song, Spider-Man, Spider-Man, does whatever a spider can. So he's like, oh, he was like, what if Spider-Man was a lizard? And then the song is, lizard man, does whatever a lizard can, not much. He's so hot. Okay.
Oh dear.
And I have to follow that. Okay. Sorry to be a downer. The earlier poem was about my mom. Now it's about my father. Happy days. This is a long one. It's kind of a rant. That's why I got the two of them to sit down. It's really a rant about, Pooja, feel free to strum anything you like.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. When I was very, very, very young, my parents used to bring us two kids to Plaza Singapura, not the present version, the old version, where there used to be Yao Han and really the ugly Ng Eng Teng statues on the ground floor. Yeah, they just look like bowls, I don't know. But yeah, I remember spending a lot of time in Yao Han, and one of the weirdest memories I had was of my father getting lost. And that has meant many things to me. After I moved out, my father kicked me out of the house and everything because I'm gay and all that. And that memory has stuck with me, and this has, I guess, blossomed into this poem. So this one is called Blueprint. Amazing how it takes the smallest things like a bus ride to transport you to the important issues such as death and all its different manifestations. Approaching 7 p.m., shadows are already climbing out the sky to put out the skyscrapers like candles, ink a river under the highway to dark opacity. You wonder about the years you have emptied into your present job, the sameness of expression with which your wife greets you in the evenings, the sullen face of your son at the dinner table, the taste of food reduced to blandness on your tongue while the television in the hall blasts forth the winners of another fucking game show. You gaze out the bus window at the moon's half grin and remember that film your colleagues hated, which wounded you in some deep, unspeakable way, like the scene when the male lead hesitated for more than what was only a minute before pushing a knife's edge against the taut curve of his wrist, with that sharply held breath before every attempt, its quivering release upon failure. This process you're so familiar with, each hesitation recurring to a lullaby of the same. These repetitions, the invisible blueprint of a life. Stars perforate the sky, like the eyes of dead people suspended outside of time, peering in. The place where your soul must have come from, yanked down by ropes of pure longing. You wonder at the history of mankind, calculating the sum total of your consequence in relation to its yet interminable drama. Quickly you drift on to happier subjects, like your son, who pointed one day at clouds rising into houses, pillars, collapsible cities. You wonder what you were like at that age. In school, a teacher commented that you had a talent for stories, a startling gift for description. You recollect the praises scribbled in blue across the bottom of a report card that Dad signed and handed back to you without a word of compliment. You tell yourself you're better towards your own son, more tender, more inclined to praise. None of you can account for the exact moment when that cynicism flew into his face to lock itself in. You attribute rudeness to his friends. Your wife blames you for spoiling him from the very beginning. You glare helplessly at the desert maps of your palms, the paperweights of whitened knuckles pinning you down to the world. A poet said that all of us are searching ultimately for our graves. You think about graves, how your wife was a hole in the ground you crawled into and remained for so long you forgot what love was. You complain to yourself about how this bus is taking too long to bring you home. The road stretches out like your father on his bed the morning he did not wake. He looked no different, and religion made you believe another sort of wakefulness was prepared for him. You stood there observing him, dwelling upon decomposition, how the air would dissolve his body, reclaim the space it once occupied. You glimpsed at your watch, this gift from your son for Father's Day you found out was really bought by your wife. This watch that never slows down for the ecstatic instant, but for boredom's uniformity. Last week, you went grocery shopping with your family at a supermarket around your block and discovered you had lost your wallet or maybe dropped it somewhere between the vegetables and the dairy section. You heard on the intercom the voice of the one who had found it, a girl mispronouncing your name again and again, and you left your wife, your son, by the trolley, both turning to strangers with their unison expression of puzzlement and mild irritation. You hurried down aisle after fucking aisle, so eager to retrieve the little you could have lost, realizing instead you were unable to find the counter. You kept walking and walking alongside rows and rows of shampoo bottles pasted with women's faces cracked wide open by smiles and a barely audible laughter. You became convinced there was no counter. That bitch repeated again what was once your name. You halted, much to the approval of tin cans of baby powder. Images of babies so cute, you could smash a fist into every tin. Fluorescent lights swelled inside your head to blossom into a panic, at once unbearable yet oddly calming, as you never felt so close to alive, so potentially free.
You can stand right.
Thank you.
Okay, so this is a poem from a manuscript I recently completed. I don't really want to give too much context because it's going to be a choose-your-own-adventure novel for adults. And if I tell you what the context is, it's no longer an adventure. I'll just say it's a really depressing story. And you don't really have any options, such as in life. This is a poem called You. You are everything.
You are nothing.
You are the woman staring at the sky, waiting for rain.
You are the man on the bus trying to make eye contact.
You are a dream catcher in a house void of dreams.
You are an unrequited love poem.
You are the weight and heat of a neutron star.
You are cleaning your keyboard, washing your hands.
You are the wild of a forest set ablaze.
You are the corners that were cut.
You are a closed door, a final answer, the last word.
You are an open book, a good question, an alternative ending.
You are the numbers 5, 8, and 2006.
You are a shopping spree, put on credit.
You are an urban legend in a rural town.
You are someone else's saddest moment.
You are a New York minute.
You are your parents and your children and all your lovers.
You are a witch screaming through the smoke of her burning skin.
You are all your childhood games.
You are familiar. You are strange.
You are the hottest days of summer.
You are a pair of mismatched socks.
You are television static.
You are a house divided against itself.
You are teenage angst and adult rage.
You are at her doorstep covered in glitter.
You are today's episode, brought to you by the letter L.
You are trial, error, redemption, and reprieve.
You are every rewrite you never attempted.
You are hell, high water, and heaven sent.
You are the house that Jack built.
You are the taste of your own medicine.
You are all 32 flavors of ice cream.
You are a free spin, a lost turn, and all 5 vowels.
You are a swan dive, a bell jar, 2 birds, and 1 stone.
You are lost in the dollhouse you created from scratch.
You are an old family recipe passed down on scraps of paper.
You are the awkward silence in a difficult conversation.
You are the runner who came in fourth.
You are a broken down carnival.
You are method and sadness and madness.
You are the moment water turns to ice.
You are the elephant in someone else's room.
You are an ocean full of ghosts.
You are the knees of everyone's bees.
You are deja vu.
You are last but not least.
You are four walls and no door.
You are insult and injury.
You are the key change before the final chorus.
You are difficult to swallow.
You are a rumor that cannot be verified.
You are the opening line of an unfinished story.
You are the perfect use of onomatopoeia.
You are the kitchen sink.
You are trigger warning.
You are thicker than water, thinner than blood.
You are how Mary's garden grows.
You are canned applause.
You are all rhyme and no reason.
You are should've, would've, could've, didn't, won't, can't.
You are stars.
You are dust.
You are beginning again.
I'm really nervous about this. Okay.
And now Tania will be doing interpretive dance.
Yeah, this is a running joke that came out of I don't know why.
So this is the last piece for tonight. Cyril and I just like to do like 80 songs in weird ways. And like when we found out about the theme of the exhibition, we were laughing like, we should do this song, it's ridiculous. And then we ended up doing it. So bear with us.
And the way we do it is like, we will WhatsApp each other recordings of our voices. It's really narcissistic, but it's very fun. And this is the result.
I feel I'm going to go off key. I'm really nervous. You guys are staring at me very intensely.
Pretend you're naked.
Okay. What?
I've never understood.
Okay.
It's fun for me.
Okay, one more time. Okay. I only knew you for a while. I never saw your smile till it was time to go. Time to go away.
Time to go away.
Sometimes it's hard to recognize love comes as a surprise, and it's too late. It's just too late to stay.
Too late to stay.
We'll always be together, however far it seems. We'll always be together, together in electric dreams. Because the friendship that you gave has taught me to be brave. No matter where I go, I'll never find a better prize.
Find a better prize.
Though you're miles and miles away, I see you every day. I don't have to try. I just close my eyes.
Close my eyes.
We'll always be together, however far it seems. We'll always be together, together in electric dreams.
And we have come to the end of our set. Thank you so very much, everyone who came down for this. Super special, unending everything gratitude to the staff of the Art Science Museum. We are seriously the luckiest 3 writers, like, I think this whole year. They've treated us just so amazingly, and we are
All kinds of love for
all
you guys.
kinds of love for you. Thank you so much to the tech officers who helped us as well. You are all just amazing.
And thank you guys for coming out for the late session. It was you guys were just a really lovely audience, and it's always special when we get to perform together. So it was a great hour on stage for us. We hope you had fun. Thank you. Then any announcements?
The museum, once a month for Art Science Day, the museum is open till 10 o'clock, so please go check out the exhibitions. I think you have like another hour. And Math Paper Press is outside with our books in case you'd like to buy them.
And if you didn't bring money, please go down to Books Actually. Is the most amazing little independent bookstore in the world, doing the really important work of putting out voices of Singaporean writers. So yeah, check out the books outside, enjoy the museum. Thank you very much.
And we'll be here.